Good morning, good afternoon, good day to all of you, wherever this webinar finds you. Thank you for your time today. We appreciate it. And we look forward to sharing our know-how and our experiences with you about the Saudi environment, the trade mission that will occur in Saudi, and your website and online marketing. So just while the last of you are logging on, a few quick introductions. I'm Rita Ben Hada. I'm a senior online marketing manager here at IBT Online. And I'm here today with Toba Tarakli, who is the former CEO of Avon Beauty Arabia. She's also an angel investor. She'll be sharing with us more information about the beauty industry in Saudi. We also have Jacqueline Roder, International Trade Specialist at the U.S. Commercial Service, who will be sharing with us more information about the trade mission in Saudi. I also have Khawla Yahya Nasser, Business Development Analyst at the Healthcare Ministry of Investment. She'll be sharing more information about the health industry in Saudi. Ibrahim Asaid, Maritime Director at the Ministry of Investment in Saudi, who will be focusing on the transportation and the logistic industry. And finally, Carla Menendez, Foreign Commercial Service Officer at the U.S. Commercial Service, who will be sharing with you an overview of Saudi. All right, very quickly, before we dive in, IBT Online is a full stack online marketing company. And this means that we design and we build websites from distributors' websites to fully e-commerce enabled websites. And we do all the online marketing that goes with this, from the lightest touch of organic SEO to full social listening and social selling. We're known for our international scope, so we're online and we're international. Also, IBT Online has a strategic partnership with the U.S. Commercial Service, and we have been helping America's exporters grow their exports, sales, brand, and business online and globally for over 20 years. As mentioned earlier, we're going to touch base on different industries in Saudi today, as well as give you more information about the online environment of the region and the trade mission. So stick around till the end. We'll be sharing a lot of great information. Please don't forget to drop your questions in the chat. We'll answer them at the end. So let's dive in. I will hand it over to Carla Menendez, who will be giving us a Saudi overview. Carla, over to you.
Hi, everyone. Good evening, or good morning, or good afternoon, based on depending on where you are. But we are here in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, at the U.S. Embassy, and it is 6:33 p.m. Really, I just wanted to get on and thank everyone for joining us, to our speakers. Very lucky to have each of you on here to talk about the sectors that you have specific expertise on. To, of course, my colleagues around the table, Khalid Khan and Saad Ahmed, and my colleague on the screen, Shark Iqbal, and our consulate in Jeddah, which is a beautiful city on the Red Sea. But, this will be our, I should say just a little bit about me. I arrived in November 2020, and, like many, foreigners to the country, it was my first time. I came from Mumbai, India, and while it is a very vibrant country and city there, I was not ready or expecting everything I've found here. Had a truly enriching experience, and every day it just gets better. Some people say I had good timing and it came at a good time. Perhaps, yes, I agree, but it's been fantastic. I was remiss in saying we're with the U.S. Commercial Service, so in case you're not too familiar with it, we have a very extensive network of international trade and investment experts, professionals. We have offices all across the United States, basically in every single state. The larger the state, more the offices we have, and across the world. We're almost exclusively at embassies and consulates. So we work very closely with the government at all levels, local government, the industry, of course. And our main focus is to work with U.S. businesses to help them expand or enter into new markets across all sectors. And so today it brings me great joy to be able to dive deeper and have our fantastic speakers dive deeper into three sectors. And I know we have a series of those coming up in preparation for a trade mission coming up in December. And that is really the purpose of today's discussion or presentations, is to demonstrate, to convince you to join us if it's the right fit, because there is a lot going on here. And really, even if I came in 2020, it's like nothing. I'm a newcomer, but there's so much happening across the country. It's just unbelievable. And so if you are not considering Saudi Arabia, you're really missing out. So we hope that after today's discussion, you will look into coming and joining us. So with that, over to our moderator. Thank you.
Thank you, Carla. Thank you so much for all this information. Now we'll dive into the healthcare sector in Saudi with Khawla Yahya Nasser.
Thank you so much. This is Khawla Yahya, a business development analyst in the healthcare sector in the Business Development Deputyship, Saudi Ministry of Investment. And I'm honored and glad to present to you the healthcare sector in Saudi. So if we can move to the next slide, please. I think it's better to start with the question, why Saudi? We have a lot of reasons, but I would start with Saudi is the first largest economy in the MENA region and the seventh largest economy in the world. We have 8.8 year-on-year GDP growth and a lot of reasons, and the list goes on. So next slide. If we zoomed into the healthcare, we have Vision 2030, where it's committed to develop the healthcare sector through the Healthcare Transformation Program and Ministry of Health. And the transformation evolved around three main pillars: integrated sector, health-centered, and sustainability. And we have a lot of ambitious targets that we are keen to realize, such as we want to increase the life expectancy to 80 years, up from 74, and we want to achieve this goal in 2023. We want to cover 99.5% of the population by healthcare services, and currently we are covering 96.5% of the population. And we want to invest more than 600 billion SAR in a healthcare investment strategic opportunities. Next slide, please. So now we will zoom in to the healthcare within NISA. And the healthcare sector oversees three subsegments. We have health services, which focus on investment in design, construction, maintenance, operation clinically and non-clinically of hospitals and specialized clinics. The second subsegment is medical technology, where we focus on localizing medical devices along the supply chain. Last but not least, digital health, where it focuses on the AI space, the applications such as telemedicine and any application that provides support to the patient and the doctors. Next slide, please. So in NISA, and specifically in the healthcare sector, we work on developing sectorial investment plan, where we scan the market and identify the gaps and demands, and we map them to the supply slash value chain. So for health services, all the opportunity would start from primary all the way to the LTC or long-term care, and medical devices also start from R&D all the way to the after-sale services. Next slide. And when we develop these opportunities, we considered the demand and supply in the market, such as we have a higher life expectancy and falling in a birth rate. So, according to this information, we will focus more on the LTC services or long-term services in Saudi. We have a high percentage of non-communicable diseases due to the lifestyle. So we want to focus on specialized clinic such as cancer, diabetes, and so on. Next slide, please. So furthermore, on the demand and specifically in non-communicable diseases, unfortunately, we have high percentages comparing to other countries. So, for example, in diabetes, almost 18% of our population suffering from diabetes and also other non-communicable diseases. Next slide, please. Okay, so another example of the demand that we consider is that the KSA market is going to stay the largest among the MENA region in medical devices, and that gives us an indicator that there are a lot of investable opportunities in localizing medical devices beyond consumables, because currently we imported more than 95% of the medical devices, and only 6% of these devices are locally manufactured, and they are low tech, such as consumables. So we have a huge demand and a huge space for investors to pitch in and invest in such opportunities. Next slide, please. So, in conclusion, for the study that we did and the opportunities that we mapped in the to the supply and value chain, currently we have on Invest Saudi multiple opportunities for services and devices, such as mental health, which is a huge focus for Saudi, rehabilitation, LTC for devices, orthopedics, in vitro, and so on. And it's all available on Invest Saudi for everyone to check. And there is an attached opportunity card that shows the study that we did and include investment size, scalability, and so on. Next slide, please. Next slide. I'll go back to this slide. So now I'll talk about the investor journey in MISA. So proudly, we consider ourselves an extended to the investor team. We start with them early, even when they even did not consider investing in Saudi. So we start from that early stage. We explain the market, what the trends, demand, and then we start the journey with them. We support them with the licensing, matchmaking with local or international player. We link them with the stakeholder and the ecosystem if needed, and we work on solving challenges or hurdles in the journey or in the market in general. And a lot of investors, when they reach the setup phase, they came back to us with a new project, and this is makes us actually happy. So if we can go back to the slide before. Here, this is also one of the services that MISA provide, is that basically work with the investor to find the suitable incentives for them. And we have two options. One, we call it off-the-shelf incentives, where these incentives are provided by other entities. If the investor match the criteria and it's applicable for these incentives, then it's good. If not, or the investor needs other type of incentives, whether it's financial or non-financial, we work on another path. We call it deal-by-deal incentives with the National Incentives Committee that is held by ministerial level. So this is in a nutshell about the healthcare sector. You can go to the last slide. you will find the email of our sector. If you have any question or interest, we'd be love to connect with you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Hawla. Very insightful and helpful information about the healthcare sector. Now we'll dive into the transportation and logistic with Ibrahim Asad. Ibrahim, over to you.
Hi everyone, I hope you can hear my voice clearly. Okay, let's go to the next slide. By the way, my colleague Khawla had gone through the general position of the Saudi economy, so we will pass that one and go to the deep dive in transport and logistics slide. So we can go next, please. Okay, next. Fine. Starting with the transport and logistics sector, we can see that Saudi Arabia has a multimodal network of airports, ports, roads, rail, and logistic zones. That's due to the size of the kingdom. Now, we have in the kingdom right now, we can say 28 airports, 10 plus ports, 5,500 plus kilometer of railways, and 224,000 plus kilometer of national roads. 13% plus of the world trade via Red Sea and passing the Saudi ports, and 21 active logistics centers. These 21 active logistics centers is just out of 59 have been announced. Next, please. Now, looking at the aviation and the airports, we can see in the map on the left side the airports distributed over the kingdom. Now, if we go to the right side, airlines that are working in Saudi Arabia, we can identify Saudia as a national champion. We have Riyadh Air coming in the way, and we have a Flynas. In addition to that, we have Wizz Air as a global economy flight company. Now, it is important to highlight that we are looking to achieve transporting passengers with 330 million passengers by 2030, going from 160 million right now. All right, and that's a huge move to happen. Now, next, if we look at the air cargo as a pillar, we have today 0.8 million tons of air cargo, but the target by 2030 is 4.5 million tons of cargo. And then we have three companies mainly looking and taking care of the ground services in the airports. We have SATS, and we have SAL and Saudi Cargo. Now, the last one is aviation services. We have SGS, Swissport, and Saudi Technic, which is taking care of the technical MRO of the airplanes, and that's a very good side of investment. And then we have for catering, Catrion. Next, please. Now, in this slide, we will look at seaports in Saudi. We have 10 major ports in the kingdom, and we have national champions for shipping and shipyards and the strong marine tourism potential. Now, if we look at the targets we have to handle TEUs in the Saudi ports, it needs to go from 10 million TEUs to 40 millions by 2030. So that's like, 3 times of the current throughput we have in our ports. In the shipping lines, we have Bahri taking care of the oil shipping and the petrochemicals, but a newly established company, Fulk, is a company taking care of the feeder services. Now, it is still having a good potential over there to consider. In the shipyards side, we have IMI, International Maritime Industry, which should start the building of very large vessels very soon. It is a state of the art, one of the largest shipyard to be in the world. For marine tourism, we can see the development we have in the Saudi cruise, in addition to receiving a super yacht in the marinas, and very soon you will hear about announcing a marina in Lyon. Marine services, Saudi is looking to be a hub for the bunkering, to move from 0.8 million ton to 10 million metric ton of fuel. Next, please. For the railway, it's really a closed market, and we have a good plan to expand our railway, but we don't want to go deep in this because opportunities are more in the other pillars. Next, please. The roadside services and public transportation is a very good and potential for having the investment. So we welcome any company that have a good digitalization, tracking systems, public transportation companies to look at the opportunities we have in Saudi. Go next, please. Logistic centers. I believe logistic centers is a high potential investment opportunities that can be considered because we have a 21 active logistic centers now, and we have more to reach 59
Ibrahim, I think you're frozen. May have some Wi-Fi issue. I suggest we give him a minute, and if he's not back, then I will hand it over to the next section, and then we'll go back to him as soon as he's back. Let's just give him a few seconds. All right. Well, I suggest we go to the beauty and personal care industry with Toba. Oh, I can see Ibrahim is back. Says he has arrived.
Yeah, Geeta, I was speaking to Mr. Ibrahim. He'll be logging. He's logging back on shortly.
He's here.
Sorry for the inconvenience. Okay.
No problem.
I hope you can hear me now. All right.
Yeah. All good.
And let me please get the help of my laptop to look at the screen and the slides. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Right. Go next, please. Next. Okay, these are the major targets and ambitions we have for the transport and logistic. I can't really read it, but you can look at it from your laptops. These numbers are set by our leaders to achieve and to transfer our transport and logistic from where it's at now to our targets in 2030. I'm just going to take some examples like the contribution of the sector for annual GDP. It should be going from $27 billion 2018 to $94 billion by 2030. Also, another one is a throughput at the maritime ports, as we said, from 8.9 million or 10 millions to 40 million TEUs. Next, please. Here we can show the stakeholders that our investors work with, either related to regulations or to partner with. In the aviation side, we have GACA is the main regulator, and we have Matarat, the owner of some of the main airports we have in Saudi. Going to maritime, we can see Mawani and Transport General Authority. In addition, Mawani is owning right now the ports. The rail, we have TGA again is the regulator, and SAR is the Saudi Railway Company. Finally, the road, we have TGA and we have the new authority, which is the Road General Authority to take care of the regulations of the road. And finally, in the bottom, we have enablers. One of them is Ministry of Investment, helping and supporting the investors during their investment journey. We have a Transport and Logistic Ministry. We have National Industrial Development and Logistic Program to support and help the transport and logistic projects. Next, please. Next. Again, next, please. Okay, looking at the special economic zones, we have a special integrated logistic zone in Riyadh. It's nearby King Khalid Airport now. It's a very good example for preparing our lands for the investors. Apple is the first investor, and we are looking for other entities to be part of this special integrated zone. If you look at the main target of the zone is really to make it VAT advantages on serving, manufacturing and assembly to reduce the cost of assembly in the zone for onward sale in Saudi Arabia and MENA region broadly. It can be 100% foreign ownership and streamlined incorporation processes. We have also expedited the certification and permit procedures. So over the next 10 years, the sales is expected to contribute $17.6 billion in the GDP and to create 29,000 jobs. And this is one of the examples. Now the kingdom is going forward to have a multiple of special economic zones. Next, please. In this slide, we show some of the global players. Those are established and working right now in Saudi, and I'm sure most of them are familiar to you. Next, please. And next, we can go one more. Okay. This slide, you can see some of the opportunities in the transport and logistic sector. In fact, these opportunities is part of the general opportunities we are studying in the Ministry of Investment in cooperation with other stakeholders. Now, these opportunities also got a pre-feasibility study, and these are announced in our Invest Saudi website. So anyone who is interested to check the transport and logistic opportunities can visit Invest Saudi website and also dig in the opportunities and get in touch with us to discuss how to go forward with these opportunities as an investor. Now, in these opportunities also, you will see some of the numbers. Those are important for you as an investor to look at the market and to study the feasibility and all of that. So it's simply to visit Invest Saudi or get in touch with us and let us discuss what you are interested to do. Next, please. Next. Okay, in this slides and coming slides as well, and just for sake of controlling the time, enablers and incentives that Saudi can give to the investors is something that you can get back to us. We will explain to you for the transport and logistic projects specifically. All right. So as my colleague Khawla said, it can be a project-based or a sector-based incentives, but we don't want to go more in this. However, if there is any question or there is any clarification, get back to us and we will help you to support knowing enablers, knowing incentives that can be provided, and discussing your projects. By this, would like to go to the last slide and stop my presentation here.
Thank you. Thank you, Ibrahim. That was extremely interesting information. And now I'm going to hand it over to Toba directly, who is the former CEO of Avon in Saudi, that will be focusing on the beauty and personal care. Toba, over to you.
Hello, good evening, everyone, and thank you for having me. Yes, I am the former CEO. I left my role in March 31st because we were lucky enough to exit very profitably with the shares handed over to new shareholders. And we're now looking at what else to do in the beauty and cosmetics sector, especially with clean beauty. Saudi Arabia has so much potential. If we could go to the first slide, please. And when you look at the market, and just FYI, everyone, everything and anything you see on these slides is curated from public information on the net. Nothing is exclusive to me. I just put it in a way that might resonate with some of you that are looking to come into the market. The market size is roughly at $5.6 billion, and the market is expected to grow at around 4% CAGR a year. However, this does not tell us the true story, which is the local market and the local players that are existing in the market, whether of the Samad al-Qurayshi or any of the local brands, are constantly looking at ways to expand from Saudi to the rest of the world as well. So the market potential within Saudi is not only limited to Saudi Arabia, but it also covers the other markets around us that are in GCC. And we have a very strong understanding of personal care. And personal care as a category in the beauty market is the fastest growing by far. And for all the research that we have done in the company, we at one point we called ourselves the deodorant capital of the world for reasons you can all relate to. Anything to do with clean and organic antiperspirants that last 72 hours is a big hit in this market. So that's how tiny a product can make at least $1 billion a year. And that's just to highlight the potential for anyone that's in the personal care category. Next, please. And yes, we are. Avon was the second largest beauty seller, and it still is. Within Saudi Arabia, by direct marketing, it is the largest. And there is a reason for that. Most of the Saudi target clientele, whether they're foreigners or Saudis living here on mainland, are into personalized care. And this goes through for their wellness programs, it goes for their healthcare, solutions, as well as cosmetics. So they look at things that are very much attuned to their own skin type, color and cosmetics category as well. But they like to learn about what they can use and the latest trends from influencers. So when any brand, for instance, Body Shop, one of our affiliates, they want to make a sale, they bring on the influencer, and the influencer demonstrates, and that immediately spikes the level of awareness of social media. Within the GCC, Saudis are the largest users of TikTok and Snapchat. And in the category, personal care and cosmetics utilization is the highest, content that they follow. And those trends and those sales of the brands even are driven by social media mainly. Next, please. And I always get this question from my colleagues in the US. Yes, you will shortly see the regulatory framework for allowing cosmetics into the kingdom, but which one is safer to get? Is it the regular cosmetics that have additives and chemicals, or is it the clean cosmetics and knowing that this is a halal cosmetic market? Well, we don't necessarily differentiate here because we do know SFDA does not allow certain ingredients that are not halal to come through. However, the halal cosmetic market, once anything gets sold in Saudi Arabia, it can penetrate other markets such as Malaysia and Indonesia and Pakistan very easily. So most of the halal cosmetic brands love to debut within the Saudi market and highlight, and that market, as you can see, is growing at a pace that is 20% CAGR compared to overall cosmetics at 4%. So you may want to look at that. However, I will like to give a fair warning. Most of the R&D departments in the cosmetics companies, and we had till it was shut down roughly 4 months ago, we had one of the largest in the world, and with 145 biophysicists and biotechnicians and chemists, and the adaptation to the temperature and the utilization of cosmetics and the importation durations that it takes for cosmetics to stay put was not within the testing limits of the US. The highest testing limit they had was 55 degrees Celsius. And I am mentioning Celsius. In Fahrenheit, it's a huge number. So unless you're testing in an environment for all the chemicals to stay put under no less than 70 degrees Celsius, you're not truly testing for this weather, nor are you testing for the time it's going to spend at port in metal containers. Metal containers do tend to heat up, and we did have issues with importation of especially the color category and with face creams. They even change color, and they change smell. So one has to be very careful on the actual R&D and the testing parameters you have for your products to make sure that it is within, especially in the clean category, because most of the natural ingredients go bad quicker, and they may need to be maintained at certain temperatures, so that the retailers here are very aware of that. If we could go to the next slide. So Saudi Arabia has a very robust legal framework for cosmetics, and the SFDA is the authority, that oversees the import of anything that a person is going to use on their skin or, intake. It allows no room for any playing with the ingredients post an approval. So one has to be very clean and kosher in their documentation and also in representing the production facility that they have back home. They will require paperwork that proves the facility where it is produced is conformant, either for SASO or ISO standards. And that conformity body, usually the international entity that verifies it before it gets imported into Saudi Arabia. We used to use a company called Intertech. And there are many others. I know, Société Générale de Surveillance in France, SGS, is very well known for this as well. And I'm sure you have several conformity bodies in the US. Next, please. And here is the certification process. Here, the conformity body was Cotegno, and it's a very simple process. Everything in Saudi Arabia is now on e-government. So we have a portal within the SFDA that is called eCosma, and eCosma starts with the process of FASIH, which means open declaration. So you have to declare each and every ingredient because they will take a random sample and they will check that the ingredients do match what you have declared. In any case, even printed materials will need to get licensing. The conformity bodies usually know it's not just the SFDA, but also the Ministry of Media and Telecom that will need to approve any brochures, any marketing materials that you have. It is sometimes when you are a first-time exporter to Saudi Arabia, more than enough just to have a label stuck on the original packaging, so long as that label has all the requirements of SFDA. SFDA does have a very nice website, and they declare everything on that website as needed. Next, please. Halal certification on the products that are halal, does it add value? Now, the certification, as much as we've done market research, there is no clarity of how much value halal certification adds in the Saudi market. It's something people assume is needed. But like I said, we know when SFDA approves something and they have a QR code on the product that the end user can immediately scan and get to their SFDA license online. So we are very certain, even a small bottle of cream, hand cream we buy, we know it's halal without it being its default here. But there are some products like water, certain nail polish that allows for water to go through, certain face creams that minimize pores because the country needs and requires it. So you need to look at consumer behavior rather than halal certification. That would be my recommendation. Don't waste time. SFDA regulation is enough for you to attain, and there's no need for extra halal certification. Next, please. This is what I'm talking about, ingredient restrictions. Believe it or not, even the vegan ingredients might have certain restrictions from the color elements. If it's pure clean beauty and it's vegan clean beauty, then they would look at what are the things that may not behave well in temperature intolerance. And if they're kept at certain shelves in the supermarkets with certain temperatures, so they do temperature control. And it's not only ingredients that are not halal that are banned, but also those that don't do well under the living conditions of Saudi Arabia and could be hazardous. Next, please. I think that was the last slide. Yes. So all I want to say is I wanted this to be very, very practical for you. If you were to come to Saudi Arabia and you say, I have a line that I know is clean beauty, to avoid all the logistics, can I have it produced and packaged in Saudi Arabia for sale in the Middle East? That logistic chain still does not exist to the fullest. So we used to produce, and we still do in Poland, which is very close by. There are some production facilities elsewhere in Europe that know and conform to Saudi standards. The quantity and quality of availability of raw materials in Saudi Arabia is very limited. and so is the know-how around producing cosmetics. And we're working on, as part of the Vision 2030 program, to ensure that that gets uplifted. Once the products are here, they'll hit the shelves within a 7-day period. That's how quickly all the clearance works. And that's the maximum right now. Before, it used to take roughly 4 to 5 days. And I'm here should you have any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Toba. Absolutely love the information and very interesting insight about the about the halal cosmetic market. Before I hand it over to Jacqueline, that will provide us with more information about the trade mission happening in Saudi in December, we will launch our first poll. Would you like to learn more about the US commercial service, about the Saudi healthcare, transportation and logistic, and beauty and personal care sector? Oh, very engaging. Okay. Great. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you. Jacqueline, over to you.
Thank you so much, Rita. Hi, everyone. I'm an international trade specialist based out of San Diego with the Department of Commerce U.S. Commercial Service. You all have heard about the incredible opportunities that await businesses in Saudi Arabia. So I'm going to cover a fantastic opportunity to break into that market, our upcoming U.S. Commercial Service trade mission to Saudi Arabia in December. So recently, the Secretary of Commerce, Gina Raimondo, announced our 2024 Global Diversity Export Initiative event scheduled to expand opportunities for diverse exporters. And among that programming is our trade mission to Saudi Arabia for U.S. women-owned, led, and operated businesses. This is our first trade mission to Saudi Arabia focused on U.S. women-owned and operated businesses. The mission is taking place this December 8th through 9th, and the application period is already open. So I will distribute the application link either in the chat if I have the ability to, or I'll be sure it gets sent around with materials after. But it's already open, so please consider applying. The mission is targeting a few key industry sectors, a few of which were discussed in detail on this webinar: healthcare, transportation, logistics, and beauty/personal care products. There will be 2 more webinars in the coming weeks that cover the other priority industry sectors, but they're also all listed on the right-hand side of this slide for you. The companies that participate in this trade mission can expect personalized B2B matchmaking meetings with pre-screened potential buyers, agents, or distributors, which will be coordinated by our fantastic team at the embassy, with obviously input from the companies that participate as to who they'd like to meet with, and then input from the embassy specialists. There will also be informational sessions that provide information on strategies for entering or expanding your business in Saudi Arabia, and the opportunity to meet with commercial diplomats and our local team on the ground there. As I said, you all have heard about the incredible potential in the Saudi Arabian market through this webinar, and this is a really fantastic opportunity to get your foot in the door with support from the U.S. Commercial Service. So we are currently vetting applications, and like I said, please feel free to submit one. I will send everyone the application link. I'll put it in the chat if I can, and please feel free to ask any questions you might have about the program. Thanks so much, Rita.
Thank you, Jacqueline. Thank you all so much. I'm going to round up with some practical examples of some of best practices we have been talking about. I thought the easiest way was to show you some real life example. But before that, we're going to go back to the source, the foundation of your business, which is understanding your Saudi buyer persona. So you want your website to resonate with the local buyer persona. Here's an example of how a buyer persona can change subtly across different markets. So in this first image, you have a screenshot of L'Oreal USA. It's all women. They are on top floor. They're all very engaged in different aspects. And then we have the second image. It's L'Oreal Mexico. It looks a little bit more relaxed, more collegiate, and they're working together and there are 2 men in the image as well. And I find this one for Mexico very interesting, giving Mexico's cultural mosaic. Then we have L'Oreal Saudi, where we don't see any individual. Instead, we can see the city. Saudi website often prioritize showcasing infrastructures and development projects rather than individuals. This reflects the nation's focus on economic growth, the technological advancement as well, and urban development. So on the next slide, I have listed the 10 criteria that we use to determine a localized website. Note that the language is just one criteria, just as important as your domain name. The hosting, the regulatory environment, a lot goes into a localized website in order for the search engines to find it relevant to your prospective customers, so that you'll be found, be understood, and be easy to do business with. So hosting, for example, if you're not hosted optimally, then your website is too slow to bother with. So if you want a good up and down load speed times, then you need to think about hosting. Of course, being mobile enabled is super important as well, as users will verify your site on social media, of course, using their phone. So if I go to the next slide, Saudi is an awesome place for online tools, especially if you get them right. I won't bore you with the stats, but I wanted to highlight just 2. One is 99% of the population are online, and nearly all of them are using social media. This means that your prospects are online and contactable via social media. And 2, there are mobile phone connections. There are more mobile phone connections than people, sorry. So your prospects are probably using their mobile phone to connect. So you need to make sure that your online tools are really well mobile enabled. These are a couple of little features that make the Saudi market different. It is one of the largest for Google, followed by Safari and Edge. The second feature is the sea of social media platform, quite different from what we used in North America or Europe, where Facebook reigns supreme. Here it's WhatsApp. It's widely used in the Middle East. The second largest is Instagram. Saudi is on the top 20 largest audiences in the world. Actually, the Middle East is one of the largest market by market share. You have to take this into account when you're thinking about marketing or even how your prospects connect to you. Next slide, please. I thought it would be interesting to see how it works from the other way around, if you get my meaning. So this is a US company that makes heavy machinery like cranes and construction vehicles, and we built the US website for them, as well as the Arabic. The Arabic and the US websites have lots of products pages about cranes and machines, but the Arabic website also has a lot of content that is seen as essential for the Saudi, but less so for the USA. That is most noticeable on the, for example, the About Us page. On the US website, the mission and the vision statements usually take up a single page, whereas on the Arabic one, there are 6 sections or drop downs on the About Us sections, including a very important page with the message from the president and 2 pages about their values, moral commitments to the community and the traditions. If I go into the next slides, please. This is another example that I want to show you as well. So here we have same website, same company. So we have the US one on the right and the Arabic one on the left. Well, what we want to emphasize on here again is the imagery. We can clearly see a slight difference between the US and the Saudi in terms of the background image. And then next slide, please. To answer the questions of why exporters need online tools, especially for markets like the Middle East, is because your prospective clients are all online. So the first takeaway from today is that your Saudi prospects are online. And as an exporter, we recommend that you meet your clients where they are through your website and social media. And the second point, next slide, please. The second point that is really important to consider here is your website is your best sales rep. A curated showcase of your products and services operating 24/7 for you, so don't miss out on the opportunity to revamp and update your site well ahead of the event. This is crucial, as any leads you'll be making should be able to find you easily online, navigate your site, and get a feel for your brand and products. So your website should have a variety of content that addresses the questions or concern that you identify by your persona is seeking. For example, a blog on your website would be a great asset for establishing your brand reputation and recognition within the industry. A blog discussing your attendance and engagement with the upcoming event is also great for SEO purposes. You can link this blog, for example, to the actual event taking place and give your buyer persona the opportunity to connect and link up at the time. So taking the time to go through your site, updating your SEO, adding relevant content pertaining to the event, as well as situating your brand in the context of your industry. These are all key for your website performance in the pre-show phase. And another poll, so would you like to learn more about the online business development tools and the online global programs? You can answer. Perfect. Wow, great engagement. Thank you. Leave it a little bit more. Thank you. Thank you all so much. Well, thank you all so much today for your time. I feel like this webinar has been very insightful, full of information. I have seen some questions in the chat box. One that is coming recurrently is, are we going to receive this webinar recording? Yes, you will receive an email with the link of the webinar recording. I have a lot of questions, but being conscious of time, I'm only going to ask one for now, and then we will get back to you by email to all your questions. So I have a question for Tuba here. What are the most effective sales and distribution channels for cosmetics and personal care products?
Well, thank you so much for the question. There are three of our, so personal care category, if it is within the luxury personal care, then retailing through the spas and, hair care salons is the best way. But most of the personal care category is sold through the very high-end chains of Nahdi. Nahdi is the largest, it's like the CVS or Walgreens in the US, is the largest chain of pharmaceuticals. And they have invested heavily on their online platforms as well. The second is the e-commerce, and in there is something called Boutiquat, which is a Kuwait-based influencer-led channel for selling of cosmetics and personal care. And the second, believe it or not, is Amazon. Amazon does a great job in Saudi of distributing personal care. And the third is Shopify. So if you're going to do it through digital channels, you need to make sure that whatever is the consumer going to reach out to, whether it's the pharmacies or any of the online channels, the first thing they're going to do is check you online. So they're going to go to your Instagram account, your Snapchat account, and your website to see what is the production, where the ingredients source from, how good is it on the certain type of skin that is in relevance to the local market. So those would be, and for distribution, There are distribution companies in Riyadh and in Jeddah, but I don't recommend them for the sole purpose of digital marketing and online marketing. Actually focuses on 35% of the income for the total cosmetic and personal care market comes from digital sales. So I would focus my energy there.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you, Tuba. Well, thank you all so much. We only have a couple of seconds left, but thank you. We'll get back to you by email to all your questions that I can see now in the chat box. And yeah, thank you all so much. Please do not hesitate to get in touch with any of us if you have any questions or anything else. I hope this webinar was helpful, and thank you. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.